Acidic Slime's main deck, a couple Garrick Relentless main deck, so should be kind of interesting. We're going to go into the game, actually, as it's happening.
Yep, Danny Lee playing Jund. And it looks like a pretty standard Jund deck. He has a Nighthawk, he has some Blood Gift Demons afterboard.
Yep.
Probably will have come in this matchup.
Playing the new reprint, Putrefy from Dragon's Maze, which I like a lot. Instant speed removal spell. Like, you're not going to kill an artifact too often, but it's like murder with an upside.
Right.
And subtly, I think the can't be regenerated is more important at the than people give it credit for, even though it's not that great at the moment. I think Varl's the Scar Striped, as well as Lala Troll, eventually will end up being role players in certain archetypes that are pretty good, and you'll see just how good it was, later on.
So, to give you a little update on the board state, Aintrazi, it's his main phase. He just cast in on Burial Rates on the Acidic Slime. In response, Danny Lee putrefying the Obsidat, and Acidic Slime takes out Blood Crypt.
Yep, and this keeps the red sources down for Danny Lee, but it looks like his Olivia is getting pretty large. I don't know if that's a 1 or a 5. Can we get a white die on there for us, please?
Yeah, Danny Lee has a flipped Huntmaster and a big Olivia. It's at least a 4/4.
Yeah, is the Huntmaster just flipped and just halfway out of the sleeve or something? I think it's not like a wolf token next to it or anything, right? So.
No, it looks like it's halfway out of that blue sleeve. Okay. Yep, it was a 1.
All right, so Olivia not as daunting as I thought it was. The Huntmaster being flipped, a lot of damage along with the Olivia. Ollie can block it and trade off with the Huntmaster, but not that big of a deal. The Olivia is obviously the problem card, and looks like Danny does have a second red source, so he can't just ping the slime twice and attack for 10 points.
Yep, Danny's hand is Sire, Land, Farseek, so he's content to just ping with his Olivia. He has nothing better to do.
Yeah. I mean, you could make a small argument to Farseek into Sire on the next turn, but I mean, Sire doesn't even seem that great against Junker Animator because they have Unbearable Rights like as he has in his hand, and sometimes you just accelerate them into their Angel of Serenity.
Right.
So one of the reasons why cards like Rakdos Return, they aren't very good against Junker Animator, because even if you're able to sweep their hand away, sometimes they just have Unbearable Rights and a big guy in hand. They can bring it back into play, and you just gave them, basically 2 free mana. But we're going to hard cast Angel of Trinity here, exiling probably the 2 creatures on Danny's side and putting a big monster from Ollie's side underneath the Angel of Serenity.
Yep, maybe an Obsidat, maybe.
Well, he does have
Acidic
Unbearable
Slime.
Rights in hand, so he doesn't want to put too big of a target underneath. Like the Obsidat, I think he wants Unbearable Rights next turn.
Right, so maybe just this Tusk here?
Or yeah, maybe just like Restoration Angel or Acidic Slime, so. Alright, so that Angel of Serenity, pretty good at stabilizing, not gonna lie.
Yep, so Resto from Ollie, and the Olivia on Huntmaster from Danny. So Danny has to figure out a way to deal with that 5/5. He has a Huntmaster available, he has a Farseek, he has a Sire, and a land, but none of these beat a 5/5 flyer.
Yeah, I mean, Ollie is at 7, so Sire of Insanity presents not a lethal clock, but maybe like a top-decked Wolf Run could be, pretty good. Unfortunately for Danny, though, the Unbearable Rights gives him, an extra virtual card in hand, even after the resolution of the ability. So here, he's probably going to attack for 5 and just reanimate Thragtusk. I can't really see a reason not to just put a Thragtusk into play.
Yeah, a lot better than Obsidat right here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's at a low enough life. Well, okay, so he drew Restoration Angel, so now there's a little bit of tension there where do I cast this Restoration Angel? Do I just let it go to the graveyard? But I think the way that you lose this game is by casting Restoration Angel and then Danny peels away to kill it.
Oh, for sure. Like a Kessig Wolf Run even to deal some more damage, anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you were trading a Restoration Angel with the Sire, then sure, but you would just be chump blocking, and it's better to just put, the Thragtusk into play, so let's make sure they don't forget their triggers. Yeah. All right, so we got to discard that Angel. Unfortunately for Ollie, we didn't have, 8 mana to be able to flashback, get Thragtusk, and Restoration Angel. That would have been pretty spicy.
So, it's pretty unfortunate for Danny Lee. the interaction between Angel of Serenity and Sire of Insanity, even if he draws a way to deal with the Angel, he's going to have to discard at least one of those threats.
Yeah, can't replay both of them, and that's a good point.
So Thragtusk trades with Sire, Beast for Ali, and Danny Lee down to 7.
I think that actually should put him at 2.
Oh, 2 now.
Yeah, I think
2.
if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, Ollie's at a super healthy life total. Danny, I think a Miracle Bonfire could potentially get him back in the game, although, yeah. And no Bonfire.
Oh, just another land.
All right, so we're going to game 3.
Yeah, game 2 for Aintrazi. Interesting. Danny Lee will be on the play for the 3rd game, and now we can look a little bit towards the sideboard.
All right.
So Danny has available to him Pillar of Flame, Ground Seal, another Sire. He has Slaughter Games. He has Acidic Slimes of his own. He has a couple Blood Gift Demon, and then just a few one-ofs, a few removal spells, a Liliana, a Nighthawk. I think mainly we'll see Acidic Slimes, we'll see Ground Seal, we'll see Blood Gift Demon. The rest, I'm not so sure. Maybe Pillar of Flame to help deal with the mana bugs, of which Ali does have 8. So yeah, those will be coming in.
Yeah.
If Ali only had 4, maybe not, but 8.
Yeah. Ollie really wants ways to be able to interact with Olivia, since Olivia is one of the better cards against Junk Reanimator. The 2 Sever the Bloodlines in Ollie's sideboard are definitely coming in. We already saw the 2 Obsidots, or we saw one of them. I assume they brought both of them in. And I think maybe Garruk Relentless is good in this matchup too. It's a little weak to Bonfire the Damned, but it can come down and just kill an Olivia should Danny decide to just cast it early in the game without mana up to protect it, by growing it. There are a lot of turns where Junk Reanimator forces Danny into playing his spells. Like, you can't really sit back and wait to cast the Olivia with 6 mana, and that's going to turn the Garruks on to be able to fight and kill things. Garruk providing threats is pretty sweet, but I'm not sure how powerful it is going to be against Danny, but the added benefit of being able to take out Olivia sometimes is important.
Yeah, I would for sure bring the 3rd Garruk in. The fact that it only costs 4 too with all your mana bugs, if you can get it into play before your opponent gets a Hunt Master and Olivia lands a Key Rune, something like that, it can be pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Slip it in.
Yep. I do like the Luxon Smiters in Ollie's list. They are kind of a replacement for sorry, I'm blanking. Fiend Hunters that were in BBD's and CVM's deck from last week when Chris Van Meter took down the Open in Somerset. It's more aggressive, and I think that's something that you want in this kind of a matchup against Jund, where you just have to try to kill them before they Rakdos return your whole hand away. Does he have Liliana in his deck? Oh yeah, and Danny does have Liliana in his deck, so the threat of Luxon Smiter could prevent him from using the +1 on Liliana.
Right, he'll have 3 afterboard, so 3 Liliana, 1 Rakdos return. All of a sudden, the ability on Luxon Smiter, the Obstinate Bailoff ability, could be relevant.
So, shuffling up here for game 3. I actually do like Junk Reanimator's position in this matchup. The 2 cards I think that matter from Danny Lee's side are Bonfire the Damned and Olivia Voldaren. And I think that those are the 2 cards that matter more than anything else. And if he draws, multiples of them in like the right situations, for example, like he Miracles Bonfire on a relevant turn, 2 out of the 5 relevant turns where he has a window for it.
Right.
It's going to be really hard for Ollie to beat that. But aside from those 2 cards, Ollie can very easily attrition out the spot removal spells that Danny is going to be throwing at him.
Yeah, if there's one thing that Unburial Rites is good at dealing with, it's spot removal.
Yeah. Agreed.
So it looks like Ollie staying pat on his 7, Danny Lee going to 6.
Yep.
He'll be on the play though, so he'll have the initiative to start. He would love to go, say, Farseek into Olivia. That would be a great start for him.
Yeah, and does he have Pillar Flames? Sorry, these...
2 in the board.
2 in the board. So, I guess the nut start would be turn 1 Pillar, turn 2 Farseek. Probably turn 3 Huntmaster over Olivia, just if your opponent doesn't really present you with too much stuff. He is going to be on the play, so having Huntmaster on the play, just being able to pass the turn and flip it and kill, a mana dork is pretty insane, as well as the 2-point life pad and the wolf are all like relevant clocks.
Right. You know, I mean, versus some decks, the Wolf isn't relevant, the Life isn't relevant, but versus the Junk Reanimator deck,
And
it kind of is.
we do have a mana accelerator in the form of Arbor Elf, although the Force means it's going to be pretty hard for him to cast a turn 2 Liliana, although I don't know if he would actually want to anyway. Ground Seal, and that's a good one.
It's a great start against Junk Reanimator.
Yep. And that turns off, you know, the back half of Ollie's deck, where he gains a lot of the advantage from his graveyard-based cards.
Right.
He can Acidic Slime it, and I think that's one of the better answers for the Junk Reanimator deck against cards like Ground Seal and Rest in Peace. Is just having all these Acidic Slimes, not only to, you know, destroy your opponent's lands, but to destroy all their hate cards as well.
Arbor Elf in for another one. We'll see what Danny has for turn 3.
Yep. Unfortunately, I don't think he had a land drop. Otherwise, he could have just gone land into Huntmaster of the Fells. But he does end up getting a Blood Crypt. I might have gotten... Yeah, okay.
Stomping Ground.
Stomping
is a lot
Ground. Now
better.
he has access to double red, potentially. Yeah.
Unfortunately for him, there's no Darigaza's Forest. Not yet, anyway. So, Arbor Elf can now make red or green.
I feel like you're making these references to all these cards that no one has ever heard of.
Yeah, probably. We're old now.
We are old.
I don't know when it
I just
happened.
turned 27, man. I had my birthday last week.
All
Or
right,
this
26.
week.
I'm right there with you.
All right. Well, I'm your senior. So you do what I tell you
I
to
defer.
do.
So Grizzly Salvage finds a slime for Ali, and he'll untap with that in hand, and I think another salvage too.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has any mana accelerator, so he's just slow dredging, if you will. So just going to play a land tapped here more than likely. Oh, okay. Oh, no, okay, so yeah, this is actually a better play. So he can main phase salvage, potentially hit a mana creature, and then play it, and then cast Acidic Slime the next turn. So hits a lot of land, which he has plenty of in hand already, so probably just going to take the Restoration Angel. Probably just plan on casting Restoration Angel next turn for no value, maybe just to like put some pressure on him.
Right.
Maybe not.
He has plenty of cards in hand. He just is looking to build a board. I think planning for the Acidic Slime Restoration Angel long game is a little ambitious, especially since Danny Lee's not doing anything. I would rather just get some threats on the board before he draws land.
Yeah. So Danny here going to take a shock so that he can cast his Huntmaster and still attack for 1 point of damage. So basically trading off 2 life points for one of his opponents. Oh, a Blood Gift Demon.
Wow, that's great right here.
That came out of nowhere. So that's actually pretty sweet. So unlike, you know, was it Duskmantle Seer?
Yep.
Blood Gift Demon draws you cards and doesn't deal you damage and also doesn't give your opponent cards. So a little bit better in this situation. It only deals you 1 damage a turn as opposed to 4 or 5 or 9 if you draw Blasphemous Act. You know.
Yeah, it seems a lot better here. Danny Lee with the Blood Gift Demon in the board. It might seem a little strange at first to see that card, but it's so good against Junk Reanimator.
Alright, so Ollie decides to play a Garruk Relentless and fight the Mana Dork from Danny Lee. But now Danny gets to draw 2 cards. And what's interesting to note about Blood Gift Demon is that it's target player. And so if your opponent's at a low enough life total, you can just start targeting them to, you know, finish them off for the last few points of damage. So Danny obviously opting to kill the Garruk before casting the Slaughter Games is actually good in this matchup, probably for Angel's Trinity. Oh, your name's Acidic Slime?
Okay, so
well, I'm pretty sure he had a second one in hand, so.
Yeah, no, that's great from Danny Lee. He knew his opponent already had 1 Acidic Slime, didn't know about the second, but he just said, okay, I don't want you to cast a spell next turn. That's all he really cared about.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that, you know, he got the second one is just icing on the cake. And he does have a second Rakdos, or I'm sorry, I keep thinking Rakdos turn, but he has another Slaughter Games in hand to cast next turn if he wants to take out Angel's Serenity to prevent any sort of shenanigans from that happening.
Right. And if he gets that Slaughter Games off, Ali Aintrazi is going to be in a really tough position.
Yeah, I mean, the Ground Seal,
right.
the, you know, Acidic Slime's gone, so he can't actually deal with the Ground Seal, so it just turns off all his Unburial Rights permanently. I mean, he could have potentially brought into Abrupt Decays, but I doubt it. There are just so few targets for it, and even if you're able to Abrupt Decay a Ground Seal, they still drew a card off of it, so, you know, it's just inherent card disadvantage.
Yeah, same with Ray of Revelation. It's like, it's a great card to have in your sideboard, but if your opponent has 2 Ground Seals in his entire deck, Really not very exciting.
You know, I've actually been very happy so far with the innovation from some of these decks. You know, like I didn't, think Bloodgift Demon was like a card, but it feels like it's right. You know, I mean, it has 4 toughness, so like they can't fight it with a Garrick. It's very hard to burn out, and it's just a card advantage engine, and that's something that Jund needs sometimes, especially against decks like Jock Reanimator that can just beat you in the long game.
Yeah, it's so nice that the Titans aren't around anymore because that lets these cards like Bloodgift even get played.
Yeah. The Titans were very oppressive, not only to the format itself, but they just constricted the cards you could play around them because you couldn't fill your deck full of 6-drops. But like, how are you going to play a card that costs the same as a Titan that's not nearly as good? You know, I mean, Primeval Titan, aside, that one was like far and away the best one for basically the entirety of the time it was in Standard. But I mean, like how could you play, Wormcoil Engine was the only comparable one, I guess, but like something like a big red creature over Inferno Titan.
Yeah, I mean, we can't even think of the creatures that were legal then because they didn't matter.
They didn't matter. That's a great point.
So getting back to the game, Danny plays Arbor Elf Huntmaster, passes the turn. Ali has Arresto.
Yeah, and he main phases this to keep the Huntmaster of the Fells from flipping. Although he's in a pretty tough spot, he does have a blocker for not only the Wolf but the Huntmaster itself.
Yeah, we were talking about planar cleansing earlier. That's what Ali needs. Although he doesn't have it available, none in the 75.
Yeah, that's rough.
He just needs to Burning Wish here.
Not in this format.
No. Maybe tomorrow?
No.
Not even if it was. No.
All right, so here comes an Acidic Slime from Danny Lee. That's okay. So see, it's interesting because Danny Lee knows that Ollie has the Angel of Serenity in hand, and he could have just Slaughter Games Angel of Serenity, but instead opts to apply more pressure to the board. And I feel like he just forgot to attack for 5.
Yeah, not sure what that was all about.
That's kind of like, I understand not attacking with the Huntmaster and the Wolf, but I mean, there's not a whole lot he can really have.
Maybe he's saving up for one big Alpha Strike for the camo. Maybe that's it. So Danny targets himself again with the Blood Gift. Draw, keep those extra cards flowing. And another Ground Seal, just in case Ali does find an Acidic Slime.
Yeah. Maybe he thinks Resto's a 4/4? I don't know, it could just be some confusion about, the card interactions, but I mean, Bloodgift Demon obviously a 5/4 matches up very well against Restoration Angel. He knows most of Ollie's hands, so it seems unlikely that he would not attack if he thought they were not trading. Right. And he's way far ahead in the race, so that shouldn't be a consideration as far as racing is concerned. So here's the Slaughter Games on the Angel of Serenity, just to make sure the game is completely locked up. The Ground Seal shutting off both of the Unburied left in Ollie's hand. I don't think he really has a card left in his deck that can get him out of the situation.
No, I don't see any Rays of Revelation in Ali Aintrazi's deck. I don't think that he can interact with the Ground Seal at all.
I mean, even if he could, I don't think it would be that. I mean, I still don't think he would win. Like, his Grizzly Salvages earlier were almost all lands, and he took, the creatures that he hit off of them, so.
It would be too little, too late. If he could get into play like a Tesa or something, maybe, but.
Yeah. Danny Lee just kind of going through the motions, ramping up his board a little more. He has a Siren Insanity in hand, so he's trying to, cast all of his spells before he decides to cast Siren Insanity, to have just, another giant threat in play.
Yeah, we'll have to go find him after this match and ask him if he knows that Bloodgift Demon isn't a 5/3.
Dude, I know he wouldn't be in a game at that point, but that still feels like outside assistance. I don't know. I don't know if it technically is, but
it's like, hey, read your card.
Yeah,
it's a 5/4.
Yeah.
But, maybe he's just playing it safe. Doesn't want to die to the Restoration Angel. Doesn't want to trade 5 for 4 or 5 for 3. That doesn't matter. There's the hand.
Yep, and that's gonna end up being the match. Ollie ends up being defeated by Danny Lee, playing Jund. Ollie playing Jock Reanimator. Ollie's still at 3-1 in contention. Yep. Still doing pretty